Greetings petrolheads, welcome back to Automation the Car Company Tycoon game. It's Monday, or at least that's what it is for you guys when this video goes up. For me it's Sunday, a little bit past 8:30 p.m. So maybe I'll still get one or two submissions before the deadline of 11:59 p.m. Sunday. Although, you know, as this video goes up, that's totally irrelevant. But so far we have 13 valid entries, and here's what I'm thinking here. Today, so Monday, I'm gonna be where's there it is. I'm gonna be showing you guys my reference cars so that you guys know what you're going up against, and then for the rest of the week I will be reviewing multiple cars each day, and then at the end of the week we can have a poll. Or we could make it so you guys can vote for your favorite car of each video just by, you know, leaving comments under the respective video, and then at the end of the week we could have like a shootout between the winners of the votes from from under the week. So for example, if it's going to be Tuesday and we have 3 cars reviewed on Tuesday, then you know, the favorite one or the one with the most votes will be going into the final. That will be taking place on the weekend, and you know, and then the same thing would be on Wednesday, on Thursday, on Friday, and so then we have like 3 or 4 winners, and those will be going up against each other on the weekend. Or would you just prefer a simple straw poll with like 13 options at the end of the week? We can do it however you want. Anyway, so this is the reference car. It is a 1997 coupe, and I gotta be honest with you, I'm surprised nobody else chose this body, because, like, well, it's basically a sort of Sylvia-esque body, and well, it's small, it's light, it's pretty good for making rear-wheel drive cars, because it has a decently sized engine bay. You can put a nice inline 6 in there, or a twin turbo whatever engine, and it'll be totally fine. You can even make it all-wheel drive with that. But in any case, this here is an AHS steel space frame. It's got the wishbones up front, motor-link suspension on the rear. We got fiberglass panels, because yeah, it does say limited production here, and on the space frame, or here it says no mass production. But then again, even though it is a sort of entry-level sports car, it is still a sports car, and therefore doesn't appeal to everyone. And you wouldn't be like mass producing this the same way that you would be mass producing, say, a Golf anyway. So right, it is rear-wheel drive. It's got a 2.3 liter aluminum naturally aspirated inline 4. It's got dual overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, no VVL, so no VTEC. Forged steel crank, I-beam steel converts, forged pistons. So that means this thing has got pretty good internals. They can take the extra torque that you would get from turbocharging it afterwards. It's no problem, you don't need to swap those out anytime soon. If you were to mod it, it's got 47 cam profile, which is reasonably low, but still provides a decent amount of power. 9.5 compression ratio, VVT on all cams. We got multi-point injection. We got throttle per cylinder configuration, running on 91 octane fuel. We got a high flow freeway cat with long tubular headers and 2 straight through mufflers. We're making 175 horsepower, 152 pound-feet of torque, and revs to 7,000 RPM. It's got a 5-speed manual gearbox with a viscous limited slip diff. this is really like, this is good for like well, drifting and whatnot. But unlike the automatic locker, this would be a little bit more manageable, a little bit more drivable. 205s up front, 225s on the rear, and they are sports tires, 16-inch alloy rims. So they're still, you know, you can make them a lot bigger still. Vented discs all around, so that braking is something you don't really need to worry about, even if you do upgrade this car or this car's engine. We got a fully clad under tray. We get some wing angle up front, but none on the rear. That makes it so it can turn a little bit more aggressively, and it doesn't lose that much on top speed. We get way more cooling airflow than this engine requires. Again, that's, you know, to make sure a turbo won't mess with the cooling that much, or to rephrase that, even if you do turbocharge it, you will still have enough cooling. It's only got 2 seats because it's a proper little sports coupe, you know. And it's got a sport interior, standard cassette, and it's got ABS but no other driver assists, to keep it like more on the sporty, more on the puristic side. And then standard 90 safety. It's got progressive springs with adaptive 10% passive sway bars, and a reasonably sporty setup that is also still pretty drivable. Of course, I could have gone up to 225 front tires, and that would make for a much sportier graph, but we would lose almost 5 drivability, and that's, you know, considering this is a sort of everyday drivable entry-level sports car, I think that's a little bit besides the point. So 52.6 drivability, 43.2 sportiness. It weighs less than 1,000 kilograms, uses 8.6 liters per 100 kilometers. That's pretty good. Running costs are only, well, I shouldn't say only, 2,327. It's pretty much what I was about expecting for a car of this class. This isn't super low running cost, but it's also not unreasonable. And now let's get to the performance part of things. 0 to 100 in 6.1 seconds. And a quarter mile in 14.7. Considering this only makes 175 horsepower, that's actually pretty solid. So it goes well in a straight line. You don't really need to upgrade this car afterwards. Around the automation track, this thing should also be decent, because it does make pretty good cornering Gs because it's so light, and it does have really good brakes. So it'll do that in 2:24:52. That's the reference time. I can't really say yet whether that's good or bad, but that is how it is. Let's also check out the markets and the price. So this costs $20,880 with a plus 20% markup. Doesn't really excel in any of these categories. It's good in track premium, except, well, why is this in a track premium class? This only costs 20 grand, or well, 21 grand if you round it up. And the average budget is like 61 grand. What? Why is this listed in track premium rather than track, or maybe even track budget. I don't know. It should also be, yeah, Light Sport Premium. Oh, there's the reputation weighting. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a factor in the sandbox mode as well, even though, you know, in sandbox you're not really gonna get a reputation rating because you're technically not building cars for any company in sandbox mode, and as a result there is no reputation rating for your company because there's no company in that sense. So probably if this was made by a fictional manufacturer that had made like light sport cars ever since, then it would be a lot better in these categories as well. Yeah, so this is... No, let's before we end this, I would also like to go over what I think about modding possibilities for this car. So this is a 2.3 liter naturally aspirated inline 4. It's pretty solid as it is, but if you wanted to mod it, what could you do? Well, first of all, you still got a long way to go here on the cam profile. You can increase this by a lot still. If you were to... Wait, let's clone this engine and play around a little bit. If you were to increase this to like 75, and you need a slightly bigger exhaust for that, that alone is going to give you like 34-35 horsepower. And you're gonna swap in a performance intake, and that alone is gonna then you can increase the compression a little bit, maybe by like remapping the ECU or something, and by doing so also increasing the redline. Ah, okay, so that's where the pistons start making problems. Okay, so 7,000 is pretty much it. Even so, just by fitting sharper cams, which aren't necessarily very cheap, but you know, it's effective, man. Just by the cam, just by swapping in sharper cams and also quote-unquote ECU remapping, which I did in a pretty rudimentary... I did it much simpler than what it actually would do in real life, so, you know, just so you know. But we just gained 40 horsepower, long story short. And that's a pretty good thing. Let's go back to 47, and then we had like... we had this, we had a smaller exhaust. Yeah, that was our original engine, okay. If you wanted to turbocharge this thing, and say you want a medium intercooler, and you want like a 45mm turbine and like a 55mm compressor, you're gonna need lower compression ratio, gonna need bigger exhaust, let's put a large intercooler in there. Yeah, so that's pretty much like 50 horsepower right there. And then yeah, from there you can do a lot more. You can like increase the cam profile again, even by 10 points, man, we gained like what, 15 more horsepower? Yeah, and of course, turbo pressure is nowhere near what you would set it to in real life. You would probably put it to at least 1 bar. Maybe on 1.1. Bigger exhaust again, because that's restrictive. Maybe mess with this a little bit. Actually, no. $260 horsepower. So we just made like 85 horsepower by effectively turbocharging it with a 55mm compressor, a 46.5mm turbine, and a 1.1 bar of boost and a slightly bigger exhaust. Now obviously turbocharging a naturally aspirated engine is kind of expensive. It's one of the more expensive mods you can do to a car in real life, but we gain a lot of power. So now what would this car do on the quarter mile? $13.4 rather than 14.7. I think that's a pretty big difference. In overall price, this only now costs $720 more than before. I do think doing this kind of mod would be more expensive than $728 though, just because of the fact that in all likelihood you're gonna have it done in a workshop rather than doing it yourself, because it's a little complicated. And you know how it is. Workshops are asking quite a lot of money, more than they probably would deserve, but it's okay. So yeah, this is what you're gonna be going up against. Let's swap the original engine in again. And let me know which way of running this challenge you would prefer. Having a winner on basically every video, or having a straw poll with all the cars in the competition at the end. Right, thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow with another episode. Goodbye.